What's up YouTube? I'm an average dad, and this is the first video in a series where I'll take an awkward nook in our basement and turn it into a sweet dry bar. And no, Grandma, I did not get a perm. This is just how my hair looks. A dry bar is a lot like a wet bar, except for there's no sink. For this reason, they're a lot easier to install because you don't have to do any plumbing and worry about water going everywhere. If this and other DIY projects on a budget sound interesting to you, please consider subscribing. Now let's get to it. So this is the awkward nook we will transform. It's pretty useless in its current state, and is currently our informal Nick Cage shrine, a true national treasure.
That's high praise.
So first I'm going to remove the baseboards. To do that, I'm going to use this trim removal tool and my small pry bar. This nook is pretty deep and I won't have the base cabinet up against the wall, so I won't need to remove the back wall baseboard. Instead of removing some of the carpet and adding another tack strip, I'm using this thin flooring plywood I had, and the base cabinet and beverage cooler will go on top of that. So here I am test fitting it. It's pretty tight, but it looks like it should work. But of course, it is never that simple with these home projects. The outlet I need to use is partially blocked by the base cabinet.
C-R-A-P!
So I'll go ahead and mark that, and then go out in the garage and cut that out with my cordless drill and jigsaw. And voila! Now we have access to the outlet for the beverage cooler. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and work with above average mom to put the beverage cooler and base cabinet back in place. The nook here is 36 inches wide. I'm using a 15-inch wide beverage cooler and a 21-inch wide base cabinet. So it was a pretty tight fit. In retrospect, it probably would have been easier to go with an 18-inch cabinet and just cover that gap with a piece of trim. The countertop will be supported by the base cabinet on one side, and on the other side I was planning on using this 1x2, but when I placed it on top of the beverage fridge, it was actually a little bit too tall. So instead of cutting that really thin, I decided to go to the hardware store and just get some L brackets to use instead. Got a larger one to put here in the middle, and a smaller one to put in the back corner. And I'll screw both of them into studs. And then double check and see how level they are. And they're looking pretty good. So this nook was not as wide in the front as it was in the back, so it took a little bit of finesse to get the countertop in and flat on top of the base cabinet. Once it was flat, I could tell I didn't put the L bracket at the right height, so I'm going to shim it here real quick. And then you can see there how it's resting on the shim on that larger, closer L bracket. Now to put the fridge handle on, to do that you got to remove the rubber seal on the top and bottom to screw it in, and then replace it once you're done. Then from the cabinet, I'll take off the plastic wrap and go ahead and install the door bumpers. The last step for the bottom portion of this dry bar is to caulk on both sides of the countertop. The trick to making this look really nice is to use painter's tape on the counter and the wall so that when you run your finger over it, the excess does not make an unclean line, and it will look really good when you take the tape off. Probably should have done this earlier, but I'm also going to secure the cabinet to the wall. I'll go above the countertop and find a stud, and then go below and measure to that same location, and then attach it with a self-tapping screw. This will just help everything stay solid and not move around. So now I can plug in and stock the fridge. If I do that, I'll go through the cost so far. So the beverage cooler is $500 new, but I bought it off Facebook Marketplace for $325. The base cabinet is usually $326, but I got it on sale and it arrived damaged, and I complained, so I only paid $96. The countertop was a quartz remnant from a local shop, and I paid $225. I paid about $7 for mounting hardware, and obviously because I spent hours and hours making these videos, I don't value my time, so that was $0. Which brings us to a grand total of $653. As far as spicy hot deals go, I would give that at least 3 jalapenos. In the next video, I'll go over how I install this faux brick on the top, as well as this really cool floating shelf with integrated LED lights. See ya!
Digga 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 dun dun ya dun dun bum ba dun 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 digga 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 dun dun dun